Hello, this is Reignite and I'm Cathy Grant. Welcome to the show. If you're here live, get in on the live chat and join in. And if you're not, if you're watching on the rerun, then leave us a comment because we love to know where everyone's watching from. Anyway, enough of me. There's so much to talk about and so little time. We have 1 hour. So let's get cracking and dive in with today's guest. He is a singer, a songwriter, an artist, an actor. He's Billy Idol's guitarist. So let's welcome him. Let's crack on. Billy Morrison, welcome to Reignite, mate.
Hello, love. How you doing?
I'm doing all right there. What you got? Cup of tea or cup of coffee?
Oh, coffee. It's only 10 in the morning here, so it's still coffee time. Tea comes in the afternoon.
Oh, really? All right. Afternoon tea. That's terribly civilized. Terribly British.
You'll always find me at the Ritz in London at 4 o'clock having cream cakes. No, you won't.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, excuse me. Anyway, so weather there is probably doing a damn sight better than the UK. We're on the verge of a thunderstorm, so I'm hoping we're going to keep the internet here.
I haven't been outside this morning, but it's not that sunny right now. But I mean, it's one of the 8 days a year that isn't sunny. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons I live here is it's 72 degrees every day.
Yeah, not bad. You can get out on the old bike, yeah?
Not as much as I'd like. I mean, believe it or not, I do have to work. You know, yeah. I mean, I get out on the bike when I can. It's definitely more biking weather than it is in London. And I was a dispatch rider for about 5 years. So yeah. I know about riding bikes in London and up the M1 and in the freezing snow, but it's a lot better here if you're going to go and ride. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one hell of a dangerous job. Motorbike courier in London. That is taking your life into your hands.
Yeah, it was mad. It was. I forget that I did it until because I don't really think about. No offense to anyone living in London, but once you've lived in LA for 25 years, you kind of tend to not want to think about grey skies and miserable people on the streets, right? So I tend not to think about it until I'm asked, but that was a mad time. I was also on drugs at the time. So I was riding massive motorcycles, delivering people's letters around the country. It was a national company out of my head. And yeah, I'm very lucky to have survived that.
Yeah, I was going to say to have made it out of that alive is quite an achievement in itself. Yeah. So I was going to start by mentioning the fact that you were heading this way on a UK tour with Billy Idol, but as we were just talking about before we started, that's been postponed, and I think Ash has got some dates.
We still are. It's just in October and not in whenever it's going to be. It's just logistically we have to go to South America first, and Billy was recovering from something, so it all just made sense rather than to bring a show that is. You know, it didn't make sense logistically. And now we start on August the 1st and we end at Christmas. And that just makes much more sense. We go to South America, we come to Europe, we do some America. It's just, we're coming.
Good. Actually, it'd probably be better because the thing is at the moment, because gigs haven't been on for so long, there's such a glut of them going on. And there's masses of these 80s revival things where everyone's getting together in great big, you know, all-day festivals and that. So it'd be nice because by then things would be tailing off and we want something leading up to Christmas. So that'd be perfect.
And also we're planning on bringing a bit of a stage show with us, some productions. So we wanted to make sure that the whole show looks and sounds like we want it to sound. I mean, you know, Billy at Wembley Arena is a big deal. And it's going to be well worth the wait. I've seen the production designs and it's going to be well worth the wait. I can't wait to do that gig, even though I will not be on my phone. If you know me and you think you're going to call me when I'm in London going, oh, you playing Wembley? I haven't seen you in 32 years. That ain't happening. I'll turn my phone on once I'm out of London.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, I think it's funny because I had some questions I was going to ask you, and one of them was going to be, do you miss anything about the UK? So I think you've pretty much covered that, haven't you?
I'm being unfair. Look, here's what happened to me. That I came over here, and the first time I went back to England was a few years later, right? I think I was with the Cult, and we did Brixton. And
Brixton, did you Brixton Academy?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
having been away, I landed at Heathrow. Now I'm living, you've got to understand there's cultural differences. I'm living in a land where it's tip based. You know, you tip everywhere you go, and it's sunny. So I landed at Heathrow, and I went to Starbucks on the way through to get my luggage, and I said, can I have whatever I asked for, coffee? And she looked at me and went, we're out of coffee. Just like that, right? Miserable. And it just brought it back to me that there's a certain I miss certain things, but there's an awful lot I don't miss. There's an attitude that pervades, which is miserable. Now, I don't want to live a miserable life. I'm not saying everyone in London or England is miserable, but there's an overarching. Also, Britain's press build them up to break them down. You ask everyone, from Robbie Williams through to anyone, they build them up so they can throw stones and knock them down, and that trickles down into the general public, and it's this whole resentful. You know, I went back to I used to work at Camden Market, and I went back to Camden Market a few years ago. We came. Where did we play? Hammersmith. So I was in London for a few days, and I went back to Camden Market, and I saw a few mates. And quite frankly, not one of them is happy for me. They're happy to say, "Oh, hello, Billy. How you doing? You all right? When you coming back?" I'm like, "Well, I ain't coming back. I live in. Oh yeah, one of them now, are you? You know." Now, they're still selling T-shirts in Camden Market, which is what I used to do. I wish everyone well in life. There's a certain attitude amongst certain areas in London, which is, how dare you get out and do anything good with your life?
Yeah.
I can't live like that.
No, it's a shame, isn't it? Because you should all want the best for each other, and you should all want everyone to do well in whatever it is they do, and everyone to be happy. And it's almost
the ones that are happy for me. They've flown over here to see me. I hang out when I'm over in London. It's not everyone. Not everyone can just go, fuck it, I'm moving to Los Angeles. I get that, but you can put out an attitude of love and tolerance and patience with people, as opposed to, this is my lot in life and no one else should have anything more.
It's horrible, isn't it? And it's like you find this. It's something that I found a lot since doing this show. There's a lot of shows out there, and 99% of them, I've got to say, will support each other, will promote each other, will do stuff. Right. But there's some of them that if you start doing well, they just get plain nasty. And it's like,
I don't know why oh yes, I do know why I said yes to this. I don't do these kind of shows very often. But I do know why I said yes to this, because our mutual friend said, and I was like, okay, great, let's do it. And I'm happy to do it. It's just, it's not for me, but I see in the podcast world, there's an attitude of help and support for each other, which is nice. Yeah. I like that. Look, I'm an artist. I paint, and it's very good. On a number of levels, it's very good for me. And the circle of people that I move in the art world, not one of them hates on anyone else. If you make a big sale or you paint something really cool, everyone's like, fucking hell, that's great. I wish I'd have thought of that. We should collaborate. Collaboration is big over here. Music and art, you know.
Yeah.
Just didn't listen. I haven't been back. I don't want to slag England off, because I do miss a lot, including the Cornish pasties. But
we're going to get to food in a bit. Yeah, Cornish.
I'm not slagging it off, but and it may have changed. I've been away an awful long time, decades, so it may have changed. But when I left, it was a pretty non-supportive place on every level.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't need it. So our message to everybody today is: can we all be nice to each other? Can we all support each other? Can we all celebrate each other's successes and not slag people off when they do well? Because there's no need for it.
Yeah.
So, you talk about being in LA. You talked about UK. In LA, do you have a garden? Because I've spent most of my afternoon pottering around in my garden. Do you have that there?
Lots of people do. I chose not to because I tour so much. You know, I for me, listen, there was one year where I was home about 7 weeks, right? So do I want to pay for a pool boy and a gardener and all that? You can't just leave a garden is great if you're at home a lot. My house is what's called a townhouse. So there's 4 stories, but it's all straight up. And there's balconies, or fucking balconies everywhere, and great views, and it's very LA and it's all very modern. But I chose not to have a garden. However, I'm looking into getting another place that is very much the opposite. Lots of space, out of LA, mountain lions roaming around, all that, like wildlife. It's fantastic. And that I miss it, but up till now, I have not wanted. Listen, it ain't cheap over here. It's not cheap anyway.
No, I bet. No.
So to have, for the money I bought this house for, I could have had one in another area with a garden and a pool and all that LA shit. I think I want a pool. When I'm in a hotel, I go and lie by a pool. But if I had a pool, I'd never even fucking look at it. I know that because I wouldn't very long. So the townhouse vibe suits me. The area that I'm in is very, very nice. Yeah. It's secure, it's safe. I like it right now. Yeah.
No, we had it because we lived out in Spain for a few years, and it's like we had a pool, but we just sort of you rarely used it. And actually, we rarely went to the beach. That was such a waste. We were only about 20 minutes walk from the beach. But what I don't know is what part of London. You said you sold T-shirts in Camden. What part of London did you grow up in?
South London.
Oh, you're south of the river. All right.
I came up in Bromley, where Billy Idol's from, and spent all my teenage years and early 20s in Brixton.
Oh, okay. All right. So when you were a kid, I got to ask you, when you were a kid, what were you like? Because I work at school. That's my main job. I work in school. What were you like at school?
You wouldn't have liked me.
Really?
Yeah, I was an absolute fucking nightmare as a kid.
Were you?
Yeah, age has done wonders for me. It's mellowed me out. It's taught me love and tolerance of my fellow human beings. I was, I was not a great kid. I mean, I got arrested for the first time at 10 years old, stealing the badges off of cars.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where they would have big chains and put VW. Or
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I got nicked for that. That was the first time of many. But you get to your 30s and you realise times are different. It's either going to go one way or the other for me. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was a drug addict for a lot of years, like homeless, not fucking. I was on the street, and you reach a stage where it's either, put up or shut up. That don't end well for anyone. Where I'm not going to mention his name because he is a friend, but there's a singer of a huge rock band, and he's 70 something right now, and he's just had to cancel a bunch of shows because he's gone back to rehab. At over 70. Now, my heart goes out to him. It's addiction it's a disease. It's a
of course, disease. Yeah.
So people suffer from these diseases, but it doesn't end in unicorns and rainbows. That's simple. It doesn't. It ends in a big prison sentence or death. Right? Yeah. So at some point, I had to stop being that idiot kid, and also I didn't want to. I didn't want to live like that anymore. And I've proved to me and anyone who follows me on social media or whatever, they all know this story. What I've proved is a quality of life is absolutely possible for anyone, but it has to come from in here, right? It has to come from in here. It doesn't come from your wallet. It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And so by changing my outlook on life, I discuss a lot with people about human beings being able to change, right? And I believe, because I am a living, breathing example, I have 180 degrees. Now, can I keep changing? Absolutely. I keep lighting these things. It's fucking murder. I hate it. But
I can't give this, so I gave them up. Now I'm stuck with this.
Yeah, I'm human. I'm fallible. But what I can do, I can wake up every morning and say to myself, how can I best be of service to other people, not me? How can I be tolerant and patient? It's easy in LA. Let me tell you, the 405 freeway, that's where you learn love, tolerance, and patience. Because when I was 20 and out of my head on drugs and driving fucking cars and all that, I would be out of my car smashing your window if you cut me off.
Yeah.
I haven't done that in nearly 30 years. You know, there's no need, but it comes from there. You have to decide, I don't want to live like an idiot anymore.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, I totally agree. And again, you're talking there about your addiction and your homelessness. So yes, it all comes from within. Yes, you make a decision to change, but you were down for so long and in such a bad place for so long. How? Explain, because I was talking to the kids at school, because part of this program, the reason it's called Reignite, it's reigniting people's passion for music, and I'm trying to bring the 70s, 80s era people to the kids, and they're fascinated, they're loving it. And when I told them about you and about your years on the streets, they said, please, can you ask him, how does he go from being that far down and on the streets for so long to where he is now? Because they're finding you inspirational.
It's a very, very good and very, very important question, and I can answer it. I had a love of music, reignite that passion. Let's start there. I had a love of music from the age of 10 when I saw the Pistols, right? In fact, before that, I was into Gary Glitter, but we're not allowed to mention him anymore. But, I loved music. Music turned me on. I had a guitar at 10, right? So I had that passion before I went down the other route. For whatever reason, and I don't spend too much time thinking about it, I went down that other route. If you want to find out why, you have to talk to therapists, do some work on yourself, think about, I could tell you why, but it doesn't matter. I went down that route. How I got back is very interesting. I believe we are not the biggest and most intelligent thing in the universe. I don't know what else is there. Right, but the fact you started talking about Motorcycle Courier. The fact that I'm not dead from that is not my doing. It's nothing to do with me. If it was left up to me, I'd have been dead fucking 30, 40 years ago. You don't even know the half of the life-threatening situations that I've been in, where people standing right next to me have been killed. Okay,
shit,
more than one.
Shit.
I'll leave it there. So I was in serious life-threatening situations daily for 15 years. Let's not even talking about the danger of overdosing. I've overdosed. All these rock stars, right? I OD'd. It's like we all OD'd. All of us. Anyone who did that drug OD'd. It's not, you don't write a book about it, right? That's life-threatening. I've had people stabbed and dropped dead next to me, I've had stuff happen to me, right? So how do you go from that to where I'm now? The universe, and that is not, I'm not talking religion. I'm just talking whatever it is you believe in that turns the tides and moves the planet. And, there's pretty much, there's no way that I am in charge of my own life. Otherwise I would be dead. I am being given somehow an opportunity to live a life. That universe does not put massive neon signs on the freeway or outside your house going, you need to stop taking drugs. It doesn't work like that. But there are what we call moments of clarity. They're small and you have to look for them. And the unlucky ones, Chester, Chris, Taylor, the unlucky ones don't see them. It's simple. I was lucky enough to open my eyes at the exact moment and take it in that I was having a thought. I mean, I'll tell you the story. I was behind a massive dustbin in King's Cross in London trying to shoot up and I couldn't find a vein, right? Nothing new there. I've been doing that for 15 years. But at that moment, something put a thought into my head. When you die, no one's going to give a shit. Everyone you've ever met in your life is going to go, oh, Billy Morrison's dead. It's not a surprise, is it? I mean, and within a day, everyone's gone, shame, never mind. And that's it. Gone, done. It wasn't going to be an East End gangster's funeral with black horses with plumes and a carriage going down brick lanes, it wasn't going to be that. It was going to be no one cared. I had that thought, right? That's a moment of clarity. And what I did was picked up the phone and called someone that I knew had been in the same position as me and now apparently, I didn't really believe it, apparently wasn't. And I called that person and I went, I'm in trouble. That was it. All I did was take that moment of clarity and ask for help. That's how you get out of it. And then you take it, to be cliched, one day at a time. All those mad thoughts. Well, yeah, but how am I going to pay my rent? And how, blah, none of that fucking matters. You wake up, you take it one day at a time. 27 years later, this is where I live. You know what I do for a living. I have a great life. I've got a wonderful girlfriend. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's how. It's not, people say, well, it's okay for you. Here's a great story for you. So I pulled up about a year ago, I pulled up at a gas station around my area. And it was a gas station where I used to beg for money. They call it panhandling here, right? I used to stand at that gas station with some bullshit story about, I had an empty gas can. And I'd be like, oh, my car's run out of gas. Can you give me a couple of bucks, right? So I pull up and I've got a very nice car. And I wear jewelry. And I get out of this car looking like $1 million. And this guy comes over to me and runs my scam on me. And I sat down with him. I sat down with him for about 20 minutes. I laughed. First of all, I laughed and I went, listen, mate, I invented that scam 30 years ago. Oh, what were you talking about? It's not a scam. I laughed. I said, shut up. Let's just sit down. Got into a conversation with this guy, sure enough, drug addict, trying to get money for drugs. And he said, well, it's okay for you. You're driving that and look at you. I said, yeah, but you don't understand where I was. I was you. It's entirely possible to do this.
Inspirational, totally inspirational. And I think what's come out of that is the work that you do for various charities. Because I know you're involved in a lot of different charities. Yeah. So the one I'm really interested in is Sharks, but you do the above ground shows for Musicares.
Yeah, me and Dave Navarro, we have our own charity. Obviously, COVID's thrown it for a loop, man.
Yeah.
I don't know whether one's going to happen this year. We did have a conversation. I don't know. COVID really wrecked everything. But yeah, we started a charity. We've done 3 of them so far. And we donate all the money to mental health and suicide prevention. I have done conservation work for sharks. I've done stuff for the veterans, the soldiers that, I was telling someone the other day, I do some work with this thing called Operation Mend, where it's basically you go and I play a gig and help raise money, and the audience are soldiers with no arms, no legs, half a face. It's like, it's crazy. The reason I do it is you have to understand I was not a nice guy and had nothing. I wasn't bouncing around friends' couches because I didn't have any friends. I lived under a piece of corrugated iron, downtown LA, shooting heroin, smoking crack, right? For a long time. So every single day that I'm alive is a bonus. Every single day. I never go a day without feeling grateful. I look around my house at the artwork that I have and my relationship with my girlfriend and my friends, and some of my best friends are people I never dreamed, and we're so connected. So it's gratitude is what it's all about. And gratitude isn't something that comes out, you know, I see people that go, yeah, I'm so grateful for all my fans and the money. Like, gratitude is demonstrated by what you do, not what you say. So I regularly, I paint, as you know, and so I'll just look at a painting and go, fuck it, I'm going to sell it and donate all the money to whatever is going on. You know, I did the Ukraine one. It's a way that I can actively make a difference.
Yeah.
As opposed to talking about it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, the universe sort of stepped in to help you, so you're giving back to the universe because you've been given another chance. So, and, you know, being there, like you say, people measure stuff far too much by stuff and money and how many followers they've got. And
the universe will take it away just as quick, trust me.
Yeah, you know, exactly. It could all just go pear-shaped tomorrow.
So I do try to do as much as I can. And if you're watching and you've asked me to do something and I've said no, it's only because I've said yes to the previous 20. You know what I mean? I can't do everything. No. I get requests to do podcasts, requests to donate a painting, requests for all kinds of things daily. So I can't do everything. But I do what I can, and I've always wanted, ever since I cleaned up, I've always wanted to be in a position to actually make a difference, like decent amounts of money, you know, like whatever, I don't know the figures, but I think it was like 50, 75 grand, somewhere like that Above Ground last year donated. That's a significant amount of money for charity. So I urge people, and I started by, there's a GoFundMe, $5. I can only afford $5. All of it. If it becomes part of your DNA to give back, it will grow.
Yeah. And it's not just, you know, you're doing something good and making a difference somewhere else, but it does make you feel good as well. Because we've spent time, we lived out in Spain, and we worked for a homeless charity, worked for a cat charity, and people, oh, isn't it wonderful what you're doing? And you're like, no, but it's giving me so much, because it really does, doesn't it? It gives back to you because you get a good feeling. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the link to Musicares is in the description on the show if anyone wants to take a look at that and find out more information about it.
I just clicked on some button here and there's loads of comments that I haven't seen. So if you've commented, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry guys, I haven't been looking. I can see everybody in there. Thank you so much for showing up, everyone. And we're not following script, by the way. I did start the script and it's gone out the window. What I did want to talk to you, we don't do scripts. I've got bits of paper stuck all over the room and I've not looked at them once yet. What I was going to ask you about, obviously, is how your relationship, your working relationship and your friendship with Billy Idol started up.
You know, that's all, it's all Steve Stevens. All Steve Stevens. Billy's never had two guitar players. And Steve had become a friend through my other band. I have a band with Dave Navarro and Chris Cheney, Donovan Leach, Josh Freeze now on drums. And we basically invite other of our, it's a fun band, right? And Steve, living in LA, being a guitar player, you know, we all end up meeting each other. And he had been a guest a few times, and I think we'd probably done Rebel Yell as a cover, right? And Billy had a hiatus; he'd been away, and Billy Idol was gearing up to back in the rehearsal studio, new record, the world tour, the whole 9 yards. He'd been away for a while, and Steve suggested to him, because if you listen to those records, I mean, it's like any record, there's a million guitars on it. You overdub guitars. And my I can play a little bit of lead guitar if you really push me. I don't like doing it. I'm not good, right? But I'm a great rhythm guitar player. And there's a skill at being a rhythm player, because what you are there to do is be the bedrock for the other guy. Again, it's about how can I be of service to the other guy? When I play with Navarro in that band I was telling you about, it's not about me. It's about making what's behind Navarro's solos solid as a rock. I've always wanted to be the Malcolm Young to someone else's Angus Young. So Steve knew that about me, having played with me, and he suggested to Billy, for the first time in his career, let's have a 2-guitar band. And that's how I got the call. You know, there wasn't an audition. They knew I could play, and I got a call. Do you want to play in my band? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I used to bunk off school and go and see Generation X up in town. I'm the only member of the Billy Idol band that's actually seen Generation X.
No way.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Billy likes to play Generation X songs, 1 or 2, and I've been with Billy a lot of years now, and over the years Billy says to me, we'll go to rehearsal, he'll go, so what Generation X song do you want to play? And I get to pick one of my favorite Generation X songs, and so I'm just a kid living out my dreams, thanks to Steve Stevens and Billy.
Fantastic, nice.
Yeah,
I just leapt in there when you said Generation X. I just said King Rocker straight off the top of my head. But what is your favourite song to play live? Billy Idol song to play live?
So it's very difficult. My favourite Generation X song that we have done, which I picked, which the band hated me for because it's difficult, is called Running with the Boss Sound. And we did that on one of the European tours one year. That's my favorite Generation X song. Then my favorite Gen X song, because there was a middle period, Kiss Me Deadly, which we've played a lot over the years. My favorite Billy Idol song to play is very difficult, because there's some that, obviously I like playing ones that I've written. So that's nice, but also you can't go wrong playing White Wedding or Rebel Yell. The reaction of the crowd is it's insane.
I was going to say, I kind of imagine, because I love going to see Alice Cooper, and they just did they've been doing a killer run over here with the Cult as well. But everyone always waits for Schools Out and Poison. If he didn't do those, the place would erupt. Like, what the hell? So that's what Billy Idol, it's the same thing.
The interesting thing with Billy is when you sit down to actually do a set list, I mean, there's 11 songs that you absolutely have to play, and you're still missing songs. That doesn't include Hot in the City. That's a huge fucking Billy Idol song.
God, yeah.
I mean, once you start going through it, there's Cradle of Love, Eyes Without a Face, Flesh for Fantasy, White Wedding, Rebel Yell, Sweet 16, Hot in the City. Once you start going through Billy's big hits, LA Woman, it's very hard to do a set list that has got anything new in it, because you can't do a Billy Idol gig without playing a certain amount. Now he makes sacrifices, and Sweet 16, that was a big hit for him. It was in there for years, then suddenly it's gone away because we released new albums. But it's there's a lot of hits.
Yeah, it's finding that balance, isn't it? Because a lot of people that have been going for a number of years now, it's the same thing. You're bringing out fantastic new material, but people still want to hear some of the old classics. So there's got to be a kind of a
I'll tell you what is an amazing feeling is we did the last album, Kings and Queens of the Underground, and I wrote a lot of the songs on there with Steve and Billy. And it's an amazing experience to stand in front of thousands of people and you play that song for the first or second time and you can see audiences singing along, you know. So the fans have embraced the new material. The last EP that he released, Roadside, was it called Roadside? No, yeah, maybe, yeah, it was. Yeah. Those songs were fantastic. I did not write those songs. They did it with this songwriter in LA, but they were fantastic songs. And within the first day of playing them, all the audience are singing along. So that's always a good sign.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that is nice. Do you suffer from nerves before you go on stage? Have you ever had that problem?
It's not nerves. I'll tell you something interesting that I've said many times before, but it's very true. A lot of the time, I'm expecting someone to tap me on the shoulder right before I walk on and say, I'm so sorry, we didn't actually mean you. We mean that skinnier, better looking, younger kid over there. That's what I spend my life. I'm so blessed and so grateful with my life that I'm expecting someone to go, no. This is all wrong. It shouldn't be you. Nerves, not so much. I mean, there's been a couple, you know, when they, I think I was probably nervous when I played Donington.
Yeah.
We did Donington main stage, you know, that's 100,000 people. That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
But it goes, the moment the intro tape rolls, it goes. Because we've been doing it so long, you know.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing I've got to ask you because he looks so freaking amazing. Billy's workout routine. Do you know what it is?
Billy's, I have no idea.
I want to know how to get abs like that.
I know he does. I know he does Pilates. I don't know, but he.
What about you? Have you got a fitness routine?
Every day.
What do you do? Share.
I do I have a gym here and I do circuit training, which is basically I have a floor set up, I have a weight set up, and I have a cardio set up. And I just bounce from each one and I'll do 7 minutes of cardio, 7 minutes of abs, 7 minutes of upper body weights, 7 minutes of cardio, 7 minutes, and I do an hour and a half. And I just go round and round and round, and I do light weights and lots of reps because I don't want to be a muscle man, but I want that definition. And also, you know, I ain't 21, and no one wants to see an overweight guitar player puffing his way through Rebel Yell. So it's part of my job is to stay in shape, look good. He wants his band to look good. That's my job.
Yeah, you know? Of course. And what about I was going to ask you about Aussie. How did that relationship and friendship start up? Where did that come from?
That came from, oh my God, I mean, we've been friends 25 years, 23 years, something like that. And I got invited to an Osborne Christmas party, which for those that have been, and I mean, over here, there's a lot. It ain't just a Christmas party. Like I walked in through the front door, through the front gate, and the front garden was real snow with reindeers, real reindeers.
Oh my God.
This is in LA at 70 degrees at Christmas, right? So these Christmas parties they were amazing. She hasn't done one in a while. And I went, and I'm terrible. I suffer from social anxiety. Believe it or not. And so I'm all right walking in, and about 5 minutes later, I don't know what to do with myself, and I'm really anxious. And so I opened the door off the kitchen and went in there, and Aussie was sitting in there by himself because he suffers from social anxiety as well. And he went, "Hello, I'm Aussie." And I went, "Well, I know who you are." I said, "I'm Billy." And we sat down and we chatted for about an hour and a half, didn't stop laughing, bonded over the Sex Pistols, English chocolate we were talking about, all the shit we still talk about now. But we just bonded. You know, there was an instant like, it's like it's kind of like two naughty kids, me and him. And that's what the relationship has been, and the whole family has embraced me. They've been there for me. You know, I don't want to go into it, but I look at them like really like family, honestly, like family.
Wow. And you do the podcast with him, don't you? Is it Sirius XM?
Yeah, it's a radio show. It's an FM radio show. Yeah, and yeah, I'm there on Sirius with Aussie. We do 12 shows a year, one a month, and literally, I think the only reason they've got me, it's not because I'm anyone. I'm the only person that can keep him interested for an hour. You know what I mean? The way we talk is different. Look, I love Black Sabbath, I love Aussie, but I grew up with different music, Pistols. So I'm not sitting there going, oh my God, it's the Prince of Darkness. You know, I'm sitting there going, it's my mate who really likes Cadbury's chocolate. You know, just like it's just like two mates, and we think the same. We think the same about food, about people, about how the world works. We watch the same shit on TV. So really, it's bonding over anything but music to start with.
Yeah.
Now, yes, I've stood on a stage with him and played Aussie and Sabbath songs. We've recorded songs together. That obviously is going to happen over a friendship, but it's not about that.
No.
It's about, you know, I go there for Christmas dinner. That's where I go. My parents are dead, and I go to Sharon and Aussie's for Christmas dinner. It's that.
Oh, sounds legendary. That's incredible.
Not anyone else's Christmas dinner except a bit bigger.
God, I love it. God. So, all right, you've led in nicely to something that I always ask people that come on this show. You've just been talking about you bonded over Cadbury's chocolate. I have a complete obsession with something.
Right.
Jaffa Cakes.
Yeah. What about them?
Do you like Jaffa Cakes? If you don't like Jaffa Cakes, what biscuits do you like? I know they're technically cakes, but
if you brought out a proper selection of English biscuits on a tray, a Jaffa cake wouldn't be the first one that I go for, but I would eat them. I would eat. I don't mind Jaffa Cakes; they're okay. I am a custard. Right. I'm a custard cream guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have stories. So I got on a private plane with Aussie one time, and I sat opposite him, and he brought out a packet, right, of custard creams.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, great, mate, thanks. And I said to the bird, can I get a cup of tea, loads of sugar? The cup of tea came, and he got up to go to the bathroom. And by the time he came back from the bathroom, the whole packet was gone.
Oh, you hog!
So I can do a whole packet of custard creams in about, a minute and a half.
Yeah, I suppose if you're dunking, you're all right, aren't you? Do you dunk in coffee as well? Do you only dunk in tea?
Do you know what's funny? I always think I can dunk in coffee. Look, I don't have milk here because I drink coffee, not tea. But my girlfriend buys me custard creams because she knows I love them. So I'll get a packet of custard creams from her, and I'll come home and there won't be any milk. So I'm like, fuck it, okay, I'll have a coffee, right? It's not the same. I don't like it.
It doesn't work, does it?
Now, when she gives me a packet of custard creams, I actually stop off at a gas station and get some milk on the way home so I can have a cup of tea.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, because I love, if I'm going to drink coffee, I'll drink it black, but it really doesn't work for Dunkin' Vickies. It does have to be proper milky tea. It really does, doesn't it?
I've really got to sort all that out. I'm pretty unhealthy. I like Coffee Mate, the powder.
Oh, Coffee Mate. Yeah, we've got that.
But the thing is, it's bad for you, really bad for you. And so
it's a balance, just a bit of balance in life. You do your exercise.
Think about the guy you were talking to 10 minutes ago. I don't have balance. But naturally, balance is hard for me. A lot of people, when we talk about drug addiction, well, you don't have to overdo it. Just have a joint.
Yeah.
That's great for you. You can do that. I'm a person that struggles to find balance. And so it's better for me to make a choice. I'm gonna change that behavior, or I'm gonna do this now, right? And the coffee, mate, it's right at the top of the list along with cigarettes. I'll get there.
Have you ever tried to give up fags or no?
You know, I spent a couple of years off cigarettes. Yeah, I did, but life throws curveballs at you, and I got back on it, and I have a love-hate relationship with them. It's really difficult. And again, people say, well, you stopped heroin, you stopped cocaine, you stopped this. Mate, cigarettes, worse than all of them.
Yeah.
Worse than all. It's the hardest thing. But I won't give up. I won't give up. I have somewhat of a faith in myself. Not every day, not all the time, but I've done a lot of changing, and I can keep going.
I was going to say, it's quite something being a cigarette smoker in LA.
I'm a pariah.
Not much of that goes on there.
Fucking pariah.
I bet.
And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It's disgusting. It is disgusting, and it's just not that easy, you know.
No. It's like any addiction, isn't it? It's
correct, because I'll get it enough from everyone else. Let's talk about something else. What you got?
Well, I'll tell you what we'll talk about. You got a choice, right? I'll give you a choice. Do you want to choose from random questions that I get sent in regularly for anybody, or do you want to do a quick 80s quiz on a topic of your choice?
Oh, fucking hell, I'll do the random questions, because
questions. Are you no good on the 80s?
You have to understand how many brain cells I've actually killed. So even though I lived through the 80s, I will fail. Oh, my mate Louis Geiger's on the chat. Louis is a good guy, man.
Hello, Louis. Thanks for joining us, Louis.
I'm sure there's other people on the chat that I know, but I'm not looking over there. I'm looking.
No, I'm not. I'll keep forgetting to look over there. Oh, there he is. There you go. What's this? Set list of those Billy Idol songs never played on the radio. Would be amazing to hear on tour. Oh, Summer Single, Fatal Charm, The Loveless.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is we'd have to learn them. It's a lot easier to play Eyes Without a Face, Louis. Thank you. All right, go on. Random questions. What you got?
Come on then. You got to pick a number. There's there's 1 to 60. So I'll do a couple here. So pick me a number and I'll chuck a question at you. Say again?
23.
23. Is there a band that you wish you'd seen but now can't?
Good question. Well, I never saw the Pistols, band that changed my life, right? And I've seen them play many times, but not in the period from November 75 to January 78, right? They were only going from November 75 to January 78. That was it. So that version of the Pistols, yeah. Other than that, let me think about this for a second. That's a good question. No. I think I've seen... Oh, here's one. The New York Dolls.
Ah.
Now, I've seen David Johansen. I've seen Johnny Thunders, but not as the New York Dolls. I would have loved to have seen the Dolls play.
Oh, wow. Did you ever see Adam and the Ants?
And the Velvet Underground. Now I've played with Lou Reed, but the Velvet Underground. I saw the Ants back in 78.
I was going to ask you, is that when you got to know Marco? Hello, Marco, if you're watching. Thanks for getting Billy to come on.
I got to know Marco because we did an above ground, the first above ground gig. We did, me and Dave, we have a mutual love of Kings of the Wild Frontier, that album. And so we decided in our naivety to recreate the album in its entirety. All the songs, even the shit ones on there, right? And part of that process, we reached out to Adam, who I've also done a gig with, and I've spoken with Adam, but he wasn't very responsive. So I reached out blind blind reached out to Marco. And the next thing is I'm on a FaceTime. He's in a Starbucks somewhere in the middle of England. And I'm in LA. And let me tell you, that guy, not only did he give it his blessing, he paid for himself to fly to LA. And he got up. And for the first time in all those years, he played 3 of those Kings of the Wild Frontier songs live with us.
Oh, wow.
That man put his money where his mouth. He was like, yeah, this is a great idea. And I just laughingly went, well, you could always come over. And he came. He fucking came. He got on a plane. He came to LA. He came to rehearsal. We did, I forget, well, we did Physical. And I sung it, which is my greatest ant song on the planet.
Yeah.
So there's video out there of me singing Physical with Marco playing all that feedback. It was fucking amazing. One of the greatest nights.
I've got to hunt this down. Is it out there on YouTube? I have to look at this.
Loads of footage of it. Loads of footage.
So yeah,
I saw the Clash and the Ants, all those bands. I did not see the New York scene, like, you know, Richard Hell, but whatever. The New York Dolls, I wish I'd have seen, and the Pistols back in '77.
Yeah. Good.
You know, I did see most, because the problem is all the other punk bands. I started really being able to sneak out of my house and get to gigs '78, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Pistols were in America in '78 doing that fatal last tour. So I saw the Ants and Susie and the Clash and 999, all of that shit. But I just missed those Pistols gigs. So that's whatever. Now we've got the show on Disney.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 whether I'm going to watch it, because I don't know, because it's pissed Johnny off so much, isn't it?
So who cares? It ain't about Johnny, it's about Steve. That's all I'm going to say. Based on Steve's book, not Johnny's book.
Okay. Has it actually started? Is it airing out there already?
I watched it all, yeah. I watched it the moment it came out. I watched it all.
Recommended?
I am an uber Sex Pistols fan. I can tell you what clothes they wore at any gig.
Damn, I could have had that in my quiz. See, if you had told me that before, I could have put that down, flashed up pictures, and you could have gone.
Cathy, listen, love. You got 8 minutes with me.
I know, darling.
Another random question.
Come on, then. Give us a number.
7.
7. All right. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Do you have a signature dance move, and do you dance at parties? And if you do, we want to see it.
Let's go with number 9. No, I do not have any signature dance moves. I'm a shit dancer. No, I don't dance at parties. Good.
That's what we like to hear. I'm in good company. Hang on, you just said number 9. Do you play any board games? Do you ever have one of them nights where you sit around, you got like your Monopoly and all that? And if you do, what games do you play?
Tell you what's funny. I only asked my girl the other day, does she play board games? Because I actually like that. Excuse me. I love it. Look, I'm pretty busy. You know, I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I'm hustling and juggling. So I really am, and I'm a workaholic as well. I'm up at 6 a.m. And I'm working, and you know, I go to bed early. I'm not out clubbing anymore. But that's so. Yeah. So my idea of a nice night would be to sit down, play some board games, you know, with good company, my girl or her daughter or whatever, you know. But it's finding the time to do that. What board games? I mean, look, I'm old school. I love Monopoly. I think Monopoly's great. I like a bit of Cluedo.
Oh, yeah.
I would give Risk a shot, but I've never played it, but I hear it lasts like 15 hours or some shit. So there's a good question from M. Stone in the thing. I'll answer that.
What was that? I didn't see it. What did he say?
He says, being the amazing painter you are, thank you very much, can you see yourself putting down a guitar and focusing entirely on your art? I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. But board games, I like backgammon, and I like card games. Not poker. I'm not trying to win money, but I like gin rummy. And so, yeah, I'm an old fart. I just want to sit down at night, put some candles on, play some board games. I'm into it.
Yeah, nice. I totally agree.
Matt's question, real quick. Matt's question. I actually can see that.
Do you think so?
I have a long-term strategy. I'm nowhere near ready to put the guitar down yet, and I'm loyal to Billy. So as long as Billy's putting out records, which he is, and as long as we're selling out Wembley Arena, which we are, I am gonna. And as long as they still don't tap me on the shoulder and go, "Not you," I will be playing a guitar. What I can't see myself doing, if Billy hung his boots up, which I don't see him doing, he loves it too much. But whatever, he's the boss. If he hung his boots up, what I'm not going to do is start a band, buy a Ford Econoline van, and start playing the Viper Room all over the I'm just not going to do it. I don't have to, No. So there is a retirement plan which involves living on an island with my girlfriend, and I paint.
Nice.
That's it.
But I was going to ask you. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about painting. What was the first ever? Can you remember the first piece you ever bought? Because I know you're a massive collector.
Yeah, it was an Andy Warhol electric chair. When I was a kid, when I was learning about the Sex Pistols in Bromley, I was lucky enough to have he was older, he was about 18, and he had, bright red spiky hair, but he was very intelligent. And he said, "Look, Billy, the Pistols are great. It's good to, I love that you love the Pistols, but to understand the Pistols, you've got to understand where they came from, right?" And he showed me the New York Dolls and Johnny Thunders and the Velvet Underground. And he was showing me Andy Warhol and what Andy Warhol meant to the art scene in New York. I learned that's all history for the Pistols. Even though they didn't sound like the Velvet Underground, Andy Warhol was the precursor. And I saw a picture of one of his electric chairs, and being the punk rocker that I am, I'm like, fuck, it's pink and yellow, but it's an electric chair. So when I first earned some money, the first piece of real art I bought was an Andy Warhol electric chair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And at what point, because I know you've got a massive collection, at what point did you suddenly go, do you know what? I'm going to have a bash at this myself?
That was about 10 years ago, and a friend of mine suggested to me that I could do it, and I thought I couldn't, but I tried it, and it was very much like learning to play guitar. It was cathartic. When I first learned a chord or two, I felt my life had changed. There was this electric feeling and creativity, and my mind blew up at the possibilities of what I could do with this guitar, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happened about 10 years ago when I didn't think I could, but I tried it, and I loved the process. And I realized that creativity for me is it's lifeblood, because if you took music and art out of my life, I am a junkie criminal. I've proved it. I've proved it.
Yeah.
Before I had music and art in my life, that's what I was. So yeah. I don't take it lightly. My creativity is paramount, and I get blocked all the time. And people around me will tell you I'm a pain in the ass to be around, because it's not just this free flowing fountain of creativity every fucking day. I spend a long time sitting here miserable, thinking I'm worthless, all these thoughts, because creativity is an ebb and flow. And when it's on me, there's no feeling like it in the world. And when it's off me, life is fucking hard. So I was going to say,
is there ever that fear of like you've created, you have one of those, a block, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, is there ever that point of, oh shit, is that it? Can I not do it anymore? Is that what comes over you?
Of course. That happens to every creative, I think. And then a combination of time, your loved ones, and when I say loved ones, I mean good friends, significant others, who, if you've got the right loved ones around you, will say the right things. There's no real answer, but they will say the right things, that it's okay. Look at what you've done before. Remember when you felt like this 2 years ago, all of that.
Yeah.
So a combination of time and loved ones and life, because my inspiration comes from life. I could watch a movie and suddenly go, holy fuck, there's 25 paintings in my head. You know, inspiration. I could open my fridge and go, I'm going to paint vegetables. I don't know. You know, inspiration comes from anywhere. But you have to weather the storm. And look, only the other day, I was sitting around going, what's the fucking point? What is the point?
Yeah. We all get those days, don't we? It's how you put yourself out of it.
Of course, we are human beings. And I'm lucky that I have certain tools in my tool belt that I can use. The same tools that I used to stop shooting dope are the same tools that anyone in life can use to change their perception, because stopping drinking or stopping taking drugs isn't about drink or drugs. It's nothing to do with that. It's about, first of all, the hole inside, and secondly, certain tools, and this podcast is not long enough for me to go into it, but there are certain tools that help change your perception of other people, of your reality, of life in general. Well, I can always choose to get that tool belt out and go, okay, fine, I'm creatively blocked. What can I do? And it usually involves helping someone else, so that I'm not thinking about my own shit. When you reach out and help someone else, it does wonders for how you feel. You know, what's part two?
What they call it? Oh, it's because we're talking and it's like we haven't got enough time, and you've got so much we want to talk about that they're asking for a part two. One other thing, you just talking about your art there's something that occurred to me going through all your stuff. And again, anyone that's interested in Billy's art, the links are in the show description. You can have a look at afterwards. There seems to be two things that I noticed that recur, and I just wondered if there was any particular reason: tigers and butterflies. Obviously, your work's really varied, but I've noticed there's more of those than anything else. Is there a reason?
That's pretty easy to answer. This year is the year of the tiger. I'm a huge animal lover. I've painted tigers in the past, along with sharks, leopards, frogs, whales. I paint animals. I think animals are fucking better than humans a lot of the time, right?
Agreed.
This year, I have done quite a few tigers. Well, not quite a few. I've done 4, because it's the year of the tiger. But I find the tiger a magnificent animal. My mother, God rest her soul, was also in love with tigers and hedgehogs. I've never painted a hedgehog, but I digress.
Oh, come on. You've got to do a hedgehog painting.
And butterflies, you know, there's a few artists that do butterflies. There's one of my friends called Risk is known. He's the butterfly king. But before I even knew who Risk was and had met him and become friends with him, and now I've collaborated with him, I painted flag butterflies. I just came up with the idea because one wing was British, one wing was American, because I'm British, I live in America, and a butterfly it's a symbol of rebirth, growth, change, rebirth. And I'm all about that. I'm all about growing and changing. And I'm going to cut this short because I do have to go. But let me.
Oh, sugar. Sorry, mate. I didn't realise we'd gone over the hour. My apologies.
If you want to, I don't know. There's some other guy involved that was here at the beginning. If he wants to,
my husband.
Oh, yeah, your husband. Okay, fine. If you want to write down all the questions, right? Yeah. I'm happy to answer them. You know.
No worries. No worries. No, appreciate it. I didn't realise we'd gone over the hour. Sorry, I ain't got my glasses on. I'm
looking at all this. What breaks my heart is all these people came in and have listened and have obviously liked it. But there's so many questions in there, and I don't want to be the guy. I'm not ignoring you. It's just this is how it goes. I will answer all those questions if Cathy and her husband write them down, and then you can post them somewhere or something.
Yeah, no worries. I'll do that. We'll go back through it afterwards and I'll check them all out and do that. Well, look, I know you've got a dash, so I will thank you so much for being on here. If there's ever time and you want to do a part 2, we can delve deeper into the more interesting aspects of life. Yeah. But thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get out in that sunshine, and we'll let you go. And then I'll just say goodbye to everyone and let them know what I've got coming up next month. But cheers, Billy. Thank you so much. Take care, mate. Right, there we go. Sorry, I did not realise we said an hour and it's gone over to an hour and 5. And I'm sorry, everyone. I haven't been looking at the chat either. But yeah, what we're going to do is we'll look through it afterwards. We'll note down any questions on there. I'll send them to Billy, and then we'll work out what we'll do. We'll either post them or I'll come on and do a short thing and read the answers, whatever works for everyone. So all that remains is sorry to everyone. We did see you, and thank you all for coming. All that remains is to let you know that we will be back with Paul Gray from The Damned. So if you haven't subscribed, you've got 4 weeks before we have our next show, and we're going to have Paul Gray from The Damned, and he may even bring his cat Badger on. So I strongly suggest that you subscribe and hit notifications. In the meantime, it's Friday evening here. I'm going to go off and have myself a little drinky poo. And thank you all for joining us. And remember, stay reignited.